Hi, this is Dr. Brian Burton. In this tutorial we're going to go over how to install your Unity game on the Oculus Quest or the Oculus Go. So this is a multi-step process. We're going to go over how to set the develop mode or developer mode on your Oculus Quest or your Oculus Go. Then we're going to go over quickly how to install your Android tools and the Android tools for Unity. Fortunately, these first three settings or first three processes are a one-time thing. Once you've got your computer system set up to handle these, you won't have to do this again. Then we're going to cover how to configure your build settings and your Oculus Integration tool set, as well as the lighting for your project in Unity, and then we'll build and load it or sideload onto your Oculus Quest or your Oculus Go. First thing we need to do is set the developer mode for your Oculus Quest or your Oculus Go. This is a three-step process. You'll need to open the app on either your phone or tablet, whatever you have associated with your Oculus Quest or Go. Select the settings on your device. Then once you've selected the settings, you'll need to go to the select developer mode, which is in your more settings. And then once you have selected developer mode, set developer mode. This will set the device to developer mode so that you will be able to install your own creations on your Quest or your Go. The first time I did this, it didn't stick, so you may have to do this more than once to get the developer mode to stick on your Oculus Quest or your Oculus Go. It may have just been because of a update to the Oculus Quest or the Oculus Go. Software updates can do that, so make sure that you do have developer settings on your device before you get too far into this process. This really won't affect you until we're actually ready to sideload onto the device. You do need to make sure that the device is ready to receive the information. Once you have got the device set up, then we need to set up Android tools. Your device needs to have Android Studio installed on it. It doesn't have to have Android Studio installed, but this is the easiest way to get everything on there. Once you've got Android Studio downloaded and installed on your system, you need to have specifically the Android SDK associated with it. Android 4.4 or KitKat needs to be installed, as well as Android 7.11 or Nougat. Not 7.0, but 7.11. And I also like to keep the latest version on mine as well. Once you've got the SDK platform selected, then click on the SDK tools and make sure that you have the Android SDK platform tools and the Android SDK tools and Android SDK build tools, as well as the Android SDK tools there. As long as you have those three on there, you will be able to properly build the project for your thing. So here I've got Android Studio. If you've turned off the initial screen where you've got the configure or settings in the bottom right hand corner, you can still get to that by just simply going to File, Settings, and then you'll have your Android settings. For some reason on my device it doesn't immediately show my packages, but if you click on it, here we go. You click on it, it'll be ready to go. As you can see, I've got 4.4 and 7.11 installed. I need to do an update to 10.0, but that really won't affect what we're working on today. As I said, you also need SDK tools, Android SDK build tools, your Android SDK platform tools, and Android SDK tools. If you want to try and install from Android, you'll probably also want your Google USB driver to make it easier to connect to your Oculus Quest or your Oculus Go. I'm going to use another tool to be able to do the installation, but if you like to use Studio for doing the installation, then definitely need the Google USB driver. Once you're done, make sure you hit the OK and everything is applied and installed to the system. Now, after you've got everything installed that way, it's time to get busy inside of Unity. Inside Unity, you have to have the Android build support installed. Here I've got an image. I'm currently, with this demonstration, working with the Unity 2019.2 series. .3 is still in beta, so I haven't started using that for actual development. I'm actually going to be demonstrating what we're doing today in 2019.2.17, which is the current version that is available. But I've done this with nearly every version of 2019.2, so you should be set for that. Make sure that you have added the module Android build support. You must have the Android SDK, NDK tools as part of Unity. If you've got that configured and set up, life will be much easier. Now that is available through the Unity Hub. Here's my Unity Hub. Here's my 2019.2.17. And if you don't currently have the module, as you can see here, I do have Android support as well as WebGL. I do a lot of WebGL work as well. You can add the modules and then make sure that you have, oh, I don't have that support, so I better install that. We'll go ahead and click on that and get the installation going so that we can be able to install everything that we need to install on the .2. And that'll take just a few minutes as that installs. We'll go ahead and continue while that installation happens. So we've got Android build support now on there for installing for 2019.2.17. I've worked with it with 2.11 as well. Works without a hitch. So once you have that installed, then we're going to need to set up your Unity project. So let's talk a little bit about that. Here's my Unity project. I'm going to go to File, and this is an existing Unity project. I recommend getting these settings configured the way that they need to be configured before you're this far along in a project, but this was a project that was developed for mobile devices and as well as desktop, and then Oculus Edition came at a later date. So this was a project we worked on with some of our students, and they've recreated the atrium of our college building, and so that people can explore it. And there's all kinds of games now being made, from horror to chase to all kinds of fun things being created. So we've got this set up. First thing we need to do is set up your build settings for the project. You need to make sure that you are using the Android platform, because you will be posting to the Android platform. So make sure Android is selected, and once you select that, it's going to have to rebuild your entire scene. This can be very time consuming, but it has to rebuild everything. If you need to pause and allow that to happen, that's okay. I've had it take from 2 minutes to 20 minutes depending upon the size of the project. This project has a ton of lights in it and a lot of hidden rooms in it, so selecting Android settings was quite time consuming. Once you've got the Android settings done, you will need to go over to your player settings and go down and select XR settings. This is where you are able to do everything. Make sure that you select that virtual reality is supported, and then V2 signing, which is required for Oculus Quest, is also selected. Once you have those two things selected, you should be okay. You may need to set the other settings as well. Yes, other settings. For Java publication, which is what's used for Android, you will need to set up your package name as well as set your minimum API. That's why we installed Android 4.4 using Android Studio. So go ahead and select Android 4.4 for your KitKat. Your target API level should be the Android 7.1 Nougat. Those are the two required API levels as of January 2019. Or I'm sorry, January 2020. The year changed on me. So these are the two required API levels as of January 2020 that will configure everything correctly so that you will be able to publish to your device. Okay, so you've got your player setting taken care of, and your XR settings taken care of. Make sure those are selected for Quest, and then we can close our project settings. Now the project, we're not ready to build yet. So now the project is configured, and we will be able to get busy on adding the rest of the settings for our device. If you haven't already, you do need to install the Oculus Integration. That can be done through the asset store. It is a free download. Make sure that you download the Oculus Integration. You need to have this before you can go any further with the project. So Oculus Integration through the Unity store. If you haven't done that before on your device, just go to your asset store and type in Oculus Integration. There are some newer tools that are coming out for the Unity 2019.3 that are going to have some really cool advantages to it, including the optical recognition for your hand movement. But for right now, and that'll be added through the package manager, but for what we're doing right now, this is the tool that you're going to want for 2019.2. I'll probably make an update for 2019.3 or the 2020 series as we're moving along. So looks like I've got an update. So I'm going to go ahead and click on update on that so that we have the latest Oculus Integration. Good tool set to have on there. So we'll pause this recording and let that download. Now we've got everything updated for the Oculus Integration, and we'll be able to proceed with getting our scene set up correctly. Now this is, again, much easier to do if you're doing this to a brand new scene and you don't have to start from the very beginning, or if you are starting from the very beginning planning for a virtual reality. So let's go ahead and get our Oculus Virtual Reality Player Controller added. So in your project assets, find Oculus, and then underneath Oculus you'll find your VR. Double click on that, and then go to prefabs, and then underneath prefabs you'll find your OVR player controller. Just simply select that and drag that onto your scene. Here I've already got it added to my scene, and place that on there. Now you might want to associate that with a player. If you already have a player set in the scene, you can add the OVR player controller under the player, or make this the main one and add the player underneath the OVR player controller, which is probably the better choice of the two. So in this demonstration, I'm just working on getting it set up. In a later demo, I will show how to set up the controllers, but right now I just want to get this published and ready to go on a device as a simple demonstration. So we've got our OVR player controller added. Let's open that. In the OVR player controller, you're going to have OVR camera rig. Select the OVR camera rig, and then in your inspector you're going to find the OVR manager, which is a script. This is where you are able to select whether or not you are publishing to a Quest or a Go. So on element 0 here under target devices, go ahead and select whether you're publishing to Go or Quest. In my case, I'm shooting for a Quest, and that will configure everything. Now it may launch a baking after you get everything set up. So again, smaller projects tend to happen a lot faster. You might need to turn off the auto generate lighting on if you're got a lot of baking to do. I've got thousands of lights in this particular scene, and that becomes a real problem, which brings us to the topic of lighting. when you are working with an Oculus Quest or an Oculus Go, you cannot use global lighting. Everything has to be baked. So you might need to add a lot more lights to your scene so that it can be baked in. Otherwise, your scene might turn out to just simply be too dark. So I'm going to go over to lighting. And if you don't have lighting already set up on your system, to get there, you can go to Window, Rendering, and then Lighting Settings. I like to have my lighting settings right by my inspector because I use the lighting tool set all the time. So, scrolling down a little bit underneath lighting, set the real-time lighting off. You do not want to use real-time global lighting. That is very critical. Also, if you've got a decent graphics card in your system, go ahead and change this to progressive GPU. By default, it's on progressive CPU. GPU is going to take advantage to that of the nice graphics card that you've got in your system. Even if you don't have one of the newest graphics cards, it's still probably going to be faster than just depending upon your CPU to do the baking. So GPU for your baking really speeds up how everything's going to happen. Let's see, you might want to change the auto, as I said, the auto generate. You might need to turn that off. So if your computer doesn't have a lot of processing power, or you've got thousands of lights in your scene, auto generate will want to rebuild every time you do make a minor change. So if you're going to add a lot of lights to your scene or make a lot of changes to your scene, turn off that auto generate until you're done and then let it do the processing afterwards. I've run this process on both the PC and the Mac installations of Unity. Both work perfectly on it. My MacBook Pro was almost as fast as my PC desktop, and taking again advantage of the progressive GPU, and that was a 2015 MacBook Pro, so it kept up without any major difficulties. Okay, so we've got our lighting set up. You may need to create some light maps in your scene for your baked light maps. That will improve your scene performance, give you a lot better performance in how everything's going to be, and give you better performance in how everything's going to work. Do make sure you check out the blog post that I created on this on myvrprofessor.com. I'll have the link down below if you're getting lost in all the settings that need to be set in this video. So I go through and give full detailed instructions on all the different settings that need to be done in that process. Again, the link is down below. Okay, so now that we've got everything baked and ready to go, and you have created your scene, it's been baked, everything's ready, you can then go to File, Build Settings, and build your project. This will create an APK, which is the Android kit for the compiled program that can then, this will allow you to do your build. That'll give you your APK that will allow you to then install that on the Quest or the Go, whichever you are building for, and you'll be ready to go. So once you've got everything built and you're ready to save everything, here I've got everything built. It's going to my desktop so that I can find it. Got a lot of files in this system, and save, and you're ready to build the system. This may take a little bit of time depending upon the size of your system, but it will build your APK as soon as you're ready. Okay, so now we are ready to publish this, or publish. By publish, I mean I want to place it on my Oculus Quest. So to do this, I use SideQuest. I found that that was a much easier system than doing the ADB, which can be a little frustrating. It's all command line, especially for someone who's just getting started in this. This is all visual and shows you what's going on inside your system. So SideQuest makes things a little bit easier. Let's launch that. Here we go. I don't currently have my device hooked to it. Once I hook it up, you'll see that it is connected up here, and then you'll be able to see all of your games. Now, to actually publish it, you just simply drag your APK file onto the side quest up here at the top, and it will install it on your device. And that is it. That's all it is. Once you've got it on your device, you can go to your Oculus Quest or your Oculus Go. As I said, I'm doing Quest this time. And once you're there, you go to your Navigate and select the unknown sources, and then you'll see all of your installs. This particular one is the bottom install here at the bottom. I can select that, and there's a screenshot of what it shows. That's it. Thank you very much. As I said, the link for the blog post describing this entire process is on my website, myvrprofessor.com, and I'll include a link to that down below. Please feel free to follow me and let me know if you'd like to see any other specific tools or demonstrations on working with virtual reality. Have a great day. No, kitty. No. Yes, you're a sweet girl, but you can't help. No. There we go.